Corsair buys Origin PC, and more coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadget here, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is the latest in tech news. My name is Taylor American. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss out on the next episode. We do this on the daily, so you don't want to miss out on that. And if you're, watching this via YouTube, be sure to click that thumbs up button down below when you get to a part of the show that you like. And if you don't like it, leave me a comment. Maybe I missed something that you wanted to hear about. As always, we are always keeping an eye out for things going on in all three. So if there's something we could keep an eye out for you so that you don't have to go out and look for it, that'll save you some time, and then you can just tune into the show and enjoy the content that we work hard to bring you every single day. And working hard to bring you, speaking of, did you know that Corsair bought Origin PC? Yeah, well, we'll be getting into that for today's feature story. We'll also be taking a look at, a leak for a Windows 10 redesign. It looks like they're going to be getting a major start button redesign, so we'll be getting into that. Also, we'll be taking a look at the biggest tech flops in 2019 so far, and I think looking at it, I swear there's something in my eye, and if you're watching a video, you can see I'm bugging out right now, and if you're listening to the podcast, you have no idea what's going on. It's actually kind of entertaining. I think I got it. It might have been something, I don't know. If it was something like a piece of celery in my eye, let me know. That'd be really helpful. But and I'll be talking about a couple of things that I don't necessarily think were flops, but I guess some people did. I would consider it a growing pattern or growing, I don't know. I'll find a better word for it later. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Also, we'll be taking a look at Fujifilm's first surveillance camera can read a license plate from 1 kilometer away. And what is that in miles? Well, we'll probably get into that in the article. Also, we'll be taking a look at Gallery Go, a new Google product, looked poised to replace Google Photos. I guess. Also, we'll be taking a look at JBL's Android TV soundbar. And finally, we'll be taking a look at all the gear you need to build a game streaming empire. But first, did you know that Henry Cavill almost missed the call for the role of Superman because he was playing World of Warcraft? Yep, it's true. Superman we know and love as of recently, who just decided recently to say, that's it, I'm hanging up the cape, I don't want to do anymore. Almost missed the call to be Superman because he was playing World of Warcraft. Who knew? With that out of the way, let's get on to the next segment today in tech history. Alright, being that today is July 24th, 2019, on this day in history in 1950, the first successful rocket launch occurs at Cape Canaveral. The rocket, Bumper 8, was a captured German V-2 modified with a U.S. Army Corporal second stage. Cape Canaveral's location in the southeast is an ideal site for rocket launches in the U.S. By launching eastward, rockets are able to take advantage of the linear velocity of the Earth's rotation. This velocity is greatest towards the equator, making the southern United States preferable. And by launching towards the ocean, away from populated areas, safety downrange from the launch is maximized in case of problems, and for obvious reasons too. Also, on this day in history in 1951, John Bardeen notified AT&T Bell Laboratories that he would be leaving the company where, along with Walter Brayton and William Shockley, he had developed one of the most essential components of modern computing, the point contact transistor. And for those of you who have no idea what that is, the transistor replaced vacuum tubes, allowing the size of computers to decrease dramatically while upping their power. Despite this triumph, Bardeen was unhappy with Shockley, whom he felt was limiting his and Britain's involvement with further refinements to the transistor. Bardeen took a position at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I guess he left the inventor of the transistor and went to take a position at a university. Who knew, right? Well, with that out of the way, let's head on over to the feature story we got. I'm trying to figure out how do I intro this or segue it, and I failed miserably, as you could tell. But Corsair acquires Origin PC to build a better gaming computer. And for those of you who are interested in the show notes of today's episode, head on over to TechNewsGadget.net. There you'll find the links to all the articles discussed in today's show in detail, with pictures, mind you, and video. So if you're listening to this on the go, on the podcast, there's an option for you there. And if you're watching a YouTube video and you're like, hey, I want to get more, I want to read the article for myself, well, you'll have that option as well. Now, PC gamers might have a lot to look forward to. Corsair, a computer peripherals and hardware company, on Wednesday said it's acquired Origin PC. Origin PC specializes in hand-built, personalized computers designed to optimize the gaming experience. And I guess somebody's playing Warframe. Get out of here, stupid Steam. The company's plan to expand... That was something popped up on my screen. Sorry. The company's plan to expand Corsair's IQ software ecosystem into Origin PC systems, according to a press release. Corsair says this will offer gamers system-wide lighting synchronization and performance monitoring. In addition, the new range of Corsair Hydro X series custom cooling will soon be found in select Origin PC systems. Now, financial terms of the deal weren't revealed, but Corsair said Origin will remain a separate brand. All existing warranties, purchases, and support are unaffected, according to the release. Corsair will continue producing its own product line, namely Vengeance PC, Corsair One, and Corsair One Pro, and the brands. Andy Paul, founder and CEO of Corsair, said one of the reasons the company acquired Origin PC was the desire to reach more North American customers who wanted to buy systems, not build them. With Origin PC's expertise in personalized custom gaming systems and Corsair's strength in performance PC hardware and the IQ software ecosystem, we're excited to combine our efforts to create a new world-class gaming experience for PC gamers. Origin PC CEO Kevin Wazlewski said Corsair was a fantastic partner to help the company move forward. With a complete range of PC enthusiasts and products, Origin and Corsair are uniquely placed to create amazing new systems that make the experience of owning a personalized custom gaming PC better than ever. So, there you go. There's the press release on that. How many of you actually have Corsair or Origin PC products? Let me know down in the comments section. I don't have any, but I've heard the peripherals are pretty good for Corsair, and for Origin PC, I've heard their computers are really, really good. I'm honestly going to have to start talking to somebody about getting custom built gaming computer or finding a company. I know we have Next, and what is it, NZXT, and the one that I use is Cybertron PC. I had to double check. And then there's, I think, Cyber Power PC, and then there's Origin PC. There's like a handful of like really, really high-end, well branded gaming PC manufacturers in the area who custom build it, designed to your specifications right here in the US, put it together, ship it up. I've known Origin PC for quite a while, so excited to hear about this news. And how do I know that Corsair is good? Well, partly from one streamer whose name is Trick2G, who likes to buy keyboards because apparently he has a problem breaking them on stream. He's obsessed with playing League of Legends and games like that, and when he gets mad, you can tell he's gonna get mad, and he's like, don't break it, Trick. I'm gonna break the keyboard, I'm gonna snap it in half. And there's actually been a good handful of times that he's broken the keyboards. I don't know if it's deliberate. It's probably not, but when he wants to break something, he usually does. He doesn't go overboard like some Twitch streamers do and just like start re-demoing a new house that they just moved into. But he's actually pretty funny. It's more of his entertainment persona, as it were, but I know that Corsair works really well. I just happen to use Razer, but I'm excited. What does this mean? It means that a peripheral company bought a PC manufacturing gaming company. I thought it would work the other way around, like CyberPower PC or Origin PC or any of those other big computer companies who make the computers, custom build gaming ones, will go out and say, hey, it looks like a pretty good peripheral company. I think we're gonna buy them, keep them separate, and we'll be able to have this great partnership go on. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. You've heard my thoughts for the most part. I might be rambling partially because it's a little bit late. I had a long day. I had a headache most of the day, and that wasn't fun at all. And it was one of those headaches right here up in the front, and it doesn't go away. I tried drinking water. I tried maybe taking a nap. I tried putting heat on the back of my head. I tried maybe taking some Advil. I tried, well, except for me, in my case, it'd be ibuprofen, not Advil, because when was the last time I took Advil? Anyways, I'm starting to ramble, as you can tell. So I'm happy because the headache just finally, as of like mere hours ago, went away. I was actually worried that I wouldn't be able to do a show tonight if the headache had continued on in its current state, but I'm glad it finally went away so that you guys could enjoy the show that we got lined up for you. Speaking of which, let's move on to our next article. Microsoft just leaked a major start button redesign for Windows 10. Now, remember back when Microsoft decided it would be a great idea to remove the start button from Windows in Windows 8? I remember those days. I was around for that. Well, the company is considering new design changes for that iconic element of the Windows UI, but thankfully the button isn't going anywhere this time around. As you can see in the images below, and we actually got pictures to go along with it, so if you're listening to the podcast audio version of this going, where are you guys watching this stuff at? Well, youtube.com/TechNewsGadget. Now, as you can see, Microsoft is working on a simplified start button for Windows 10 that's a lot easier on the eyes. Also, the live tiles in the start menu are gone in favor of simpler app icons. Moreover, the button redesign that's currently in testing internally looks a lot more tablet friendly. Now, this might play well with Microsoft's rumored plans to launch future foldable Surface devices with dual screens. Now, this is just speculation for the time being, but the following screenshot does suggest that the start button changes are being made with touch devices in mind. Then again, tablet mode should work on any Windows 10 device that can be used as a tablet anyway, so I don't know why you have to. Maybe you're just trying to find a unified way to like have a very similar OS and UI design across all of your products. You know, your tablets, your laptops, your desktops. Even though you just sell an operating system that I guess can be used on anything. The leak comes from a Windows 10 build that was distributed by mistake to Windows Insider's testers using 32-bit devices, according to The Verge. Also interesting is that build 18947 is meant for internal Xbox deployment and development, so insiders really shouldn't have received the update in the first place. But if for some reason you installed this Windows 10 release, you should know that Microsoft is looking into it. Now, no telling when or even if the new start button redesign will be rolled out to Windows 10 users. After all, this test release shouldn't have even really reached the beta testers in the first place, but it did, and they're looking into it. So, we'll see. All right, moving on to the 8 biggest tech disappointments in 2019 so far, or tech flops. Take it as you will with a grain of salt. What are they? Like a little over halfway into 2019. First up, well, is LG's signature OLED TVR, the rollable TV. Apparently nowhere to be found. It's officially known as the LG Signature OLED TVR. It's supposed to be more than just novel trickery. It's a pretty unique, impressive approach to new TV design, and I swear I covered this earlier in the year. As you can see above, there are varying levels of openness to the rollable TV from LG. That's the main concept. It can be rolled down into a little design-forward piece of furniture so that there's no massive screen constantly in your living space. So it's literally just like a rectangular box, and you can pull it up, partially down, or all the way down. It's kind of like one of those screen projectors that you would sit on the floor, and then you would pull up, and then it go, and then it like slap back down and like snap your hand off. You know what I'm talking about if you've been around schools long enough. So it was scheduled to arrive this year. We're already halfway through the year, a little over halfway. It's still nowhere to be seen, and LG hasn't even mentioned it. Now, when the TV was shown at CES in January, it was scheduled for a spring arrival. You may have noticed spring has come and gone. Unfortunately, Business Insider reached out to LG for an update in June. Haven't heard back from them yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, something will show up. Samsung, second up, they recalled the Galaxy Fold, the $2,000 folding smartphone. Now, in a single week, their ambitious $2,000 foldable smartphone went from being a fascinating, awe-inspiring gadget of the future to a disaster. It was meant to be the first phone ever with a foldable touchscreen. It had been teased, unveiled, and distributed to select tech reviewers in a carefully orchestrated rollout over the past 6 months, but once the reviewers got it, well, we actually found out. I think you guys maybe rushed it. In rushing to be first, you stumbled and tripped over yourself and fell inches before the finish line. I guarantee you, because of that mess up, somebody now is going to run across. Soon after, Samsung acknowledged the inevitable and announced that the Galaxy Fold would be delayed for at least several weeks as the company tries to fix the phone's problems. Although it still doesn't have an official release date, and they've been bouncing around the idea, and I think I've brought it up on shows here. The latest report says that Samsung could be ready to roll with a redesigned Fold ahead of the holiday season. Also, they decided to, number 3, the foldable smartphone revolution. Samsung's Galaxy Fold, that kind of went up in flames. The future has yet to arrive. Huawei has the Mate X, but Huawei is currently stuck in the middle of an ongoing US-China trade war. It remains unclear when the device will launch and if it will be able to receive Android security updates or not. Then there's the Xiaomi Mi Fold, which the company teased in March, but we haven't heard about that. And Motorola has been mum on the revamp of its beloved Razr phone since confirming it was working on a foldable device earlier this year, all of which I've covered on the show. And then Royole has the Flex Pi, which seems to be a bit of a mess. Neither the Mate X nor the Flex Pi are aimed at the American market, but Samsung's recall the Galaxy Fold was. As such, none of the first foldable smartphones are currently scheduled for North American launch in 2019. So much for the revolution there. To which I say, I think it's not necessarily a flop. I think it's just a, oops, I think we released it a little bit too early. You kind of jumped the gun on that one. So that's what I thought about that. Also, next up, the huge new game from the folks behind Mass Effect, named Anthem, was the biggest video game flop in years, and I honestly never stopped hearing about it. Why? What went wrong with Anthem? Well, that was the big question for the first few months of 2019. The new game was a highly anticipated blockbuster from BioWare. The storied studio is responsible for popular franchises like Mass Effect and Dragon Age and spent decades earning goodwill with gaming's most evangelic fans. Although with the latest Mass Effect, people were taken to calling it Mess Effect and googly eyeballed. It just, that should have been a hint that there was something going on and Anthem was going to fall flat on its face, but rather than celebrating, BioWare had to scramble to fix its newest game and stem the barrage of negativity since the rocky, complicated launch of Anthem in mid-February. Frankly speaking, the game is a beautiful mess. Vast, sweeping, alien terrain with very little to do, characters with no personality, baffling design decisions, all within some very attractive landscapes, and don't get me wrong, they got the landscapes down pat right. For the one of the most hyped games in years, Anthem was also one of the biggest flops. Then, not to be outdone, there's Apple's AirPods 2 and the new iPod. That was one of Apple's hottest new products in years. The AirPods, the anticipation for the follow-up for the second one was huge, and Apple completely underwhelmed with a minor upgrade. So people were like, seriously, you guys could have just... What was the point then? Maybe you should have just waited a year or two and not said anything and said, yeah, we're working on it. The look and feel of the second generation AirPods is identical to the first. There are some minor upgrades to battery life and a charging case, which now has wireless charging, and you can use Siri via voice activation on the newer ones, which is, I guess, great, but otherwise it's the same or less than the first ones. Same could be said for the new iPod, which is more or less the old iPod. This model is a minor upgrade of the last iPod Touch from 2015, which itself was a modest update from the iPod Touch from 2013. So the 2019 iPod Touch, a brand new device, is running on a chip Apple introduced in 2016. Another one, and the main reason for this being in the list is for one specific reason. Google's long-rumored game console isn't a game console at all. It's a subscription service for streaming video games that must be purchased individually, known as Google Stadia. Well, when it comes to services this November, it won't come in a box. Instead, the service is said to run on anything from your smartphone to your television. Stadia will offer the same selection of games, and they'll look nearly identical on whatever platform you're playing on because the games are powered by hardware in a Google data center somewhere else before being beamed to your screen. So consider it Netflix, kinda, but for video games. Now, the base level of Stadia that you pay nothing for and is free, you're able to buy games from the Stadia storefront and then play them across your devices. What they don't get is the pro level of Stadia. You pay $10 a month for essentially a PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live, Gold-esque service, and for that monthly fee, you get monthly games that are yours as long as you keep your subscription. You also get a discount on game purchases, but you still have to pay full price for the game that you'd want to buy, and you're like, what? What? Google, can you do some little explaining, please? The idea and the tech sound interesting, but the promise of a streaming service is paying a single monthly subscription fee for access to a library of content. In the case of Stadia, you're paying the full price of whatever game you want to pay, a la carte, and then repeating that with each new game. And you're like, well, can I get like a... Okay, I don't understand if you had like a more significant discount because you're paying partially for it and for the using the service. It's like, if I'm going to open up Netflix and Hulu, I don't want to pay to watch the shows that are already on your list. I'm paying you for that. So, we'll have to just figure out what exactly happens with that. Then there's the new Nintendo Switch Lite. There are a lot of positive things to say about Nintendo's new version of the widely popular Switch. It's less expensive, for one. It's around $200 and adorable looking, and it's a shrewd business move for Nintendo as a replacement for the 3DS line of handheld consoles. There is, however, one tremendously unfortunate downside. The new Switch cannot be docked for TV play like the original Switch. It is a handheld console exclusively. Okay, so now that I'm reading this, I'm not quite sure why this is included as a flop. I actually kind of like it. I like the Nintendo Switch Lite, but the author, I guess, who wrote this article didn't like it. The reason being, they would have hoped the new Switch could have been used as a portable version of the Switch, only smaller and sold without an included dock. Then people who already own a Switch would have even more of a reason to buy this new device. And overall, in the realm of disappointments, this one ranks low, but it's disappointing nonetheless. And then there's the Apple's canceled wireless charging mat AirPower. It was a charging mat intended to power up to 3 devices at once, and it's really rare and odd. Why in the world would Apple announce and then cancel a product? They surely make the prototype and experiment all the time that it can. That's not the case for a full-on product announcement. That was the case with AirPower, the wireless charging mat Apple introduced alongside the iPhone X in 2017. They canceled that product, the AirPower, in March. So yeah, if they had any idea of what in the world was going on, they wouldn't have announced it and then thrown it into the garbage. But all they had to say about it was, we apologize to those customers who are looking forward to this launch. We continue to believe that the future is wireless and are committed to push the wireless experience forward. But after much effort, we've concluded AirPower will not achieve our high standards, and therefore we have canceled the project. So, do you agree with the list so far? If you don't, or if you think something should have been in the list, let me know down in the comments section. Alright, moving right along. Fujifilm made a surveillance camera that can read a license plate from 1 kilometer away. See, Fujifilm is getting into surveillance cameras hardcore with the SX800, a long-range surveillance camera with a 40x optical zoom that's designed to offer security at international borders and large commercial facilities. It's got a built-in lens with a 35mm equivalent focal length of 20mm to 800mm and an additional digital zoom of 1.25. Combined, Fujifilm says this gives their camera a total equivalent focal length of 1,000 millimeters, which is enough to focus on a car's license plate from 1 kilometer or roughly 0.6 miles away. Now, this is actually kind of impressive. For an idea of what this amount of zoom is capable of, a recent Fujifilm promotional video shows how the camera is able to just about read a handheld sign from 2.2 kilometers or about 1.36 miles away, while the video above that's included in here shows the camera getting a clear shot of the viewing platform of Tokyo Tower from 3 kilometers or 1.86 miles away. Another promotional image shows how the camera can focus on a car's license plate at a distance of 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles. And here's the actual photo. So we're looking across the bay. We're looking at a car parking lot, and there's a car parked there, and it's zoomed in on this tiny little section, and there's a license plate, and you can almost read it clearly. Pretty impressive. Fujifilm suggests a couple of different places where a camera with the zoom capabilities of the SX800 might be useful, including international borders, forest areas, or public facilities like airports, harbors, or highways. From a cost perspective, this makes total sense for the facilities themselves, since they'll be able to cover a larger area with a smaller number of cameras. But for everyone else, it's a good reminder that just because you can't see a security camera doesn't mean one can't see you, even if it's multiple kilometers away. The Fujifilm SX800 will be available to purchase on July 26th at a price that's yet to be made public, but we'll find out in 2 days. Alright, moving right along to some more news. How does Google's new Gallery Go compare to Google Photos? Well, Google's new photo app packs a big punch for its small size, but does it really? Announced in 2017 alongside the release of Android Oreo, Android Go is a stripped-down version of the Android OS that's designed for sub-$100 smartphones in emerging markets. Along with the lightweight OS, Google's also created Go versions of many of its popular apps, including Google Go, YouTube Go, and Gmail Go, just to name a few. On July 24th, Google Gallery Go became the latest entry in the series, offering users a lightweight and offline accessible version of the popular Google Photos app. What features from Google Photos remain in Gallery Go and which ones had to be cut? Here's how the two apps compare, and I have a side-by-side comparison of Gallery Go here on the left and Google Photos on the right. As you can see here at their core, both apps are photo galleries for you to browse and edit your pictures. You can view all of your photos at once and have them organized by chronological order, or choose to only view photos that are part of a specific folder. And I don't play no stinking ad for me. No. If your phone has a micro SD card slot, you can copy and transfer files to and from the card right into Gallery Go and Google Photos. Google's editing tools are also available in both apps, allowing you to quickly crop, rotate, and add filters. You can manually mess around with the various options given to you, or use Google's Auto Enhance tool to instantly adjust things like brightness and contrast with just one tap. Now, similar to Google Photos, Gallery Go can also automatically sort photos for you, albeit on a limited scale here. At the end of each day, Gallery Go scans your pictures and organizes them into various categories such as people, selfies, nature, animals, documents, and videos. But here are the things that you won't find in Gallery Go. While Google has managed to cram a lot of Google Photos into Gallery Go, there are a couple that you won't find in a new app. First and foremost, Gallery Go is only used for photos that are found locally on your device. Unlike Google Photos, it doesn't show files that are saved in the cloud on your Google account. Now, while Gallery Go can automatically organize photos into certain categories, it's missing Google Photos search bar. With the search bar in Google Photos, you can quickly search for photos using people's names, location, pet types, etc. In Gallery Go, you're at the mercy of Google's automatic organization with no way to search for a specific type of picture, and I suppose you have to save on something somewhere. Also missing from Gallery Go are some of the Google's Photos editing tool. Rounding out the lack list of missing features, Gallery Go is lacking Chromecast integration, Google Lens, the Google Photos assistant that can automatically create collages and videos, an archive folder, and support for Google Photo Books. But outside of that, Gallery Go is better in some arenas, and you just have to make the decision for yourself. But keep in mind, Gallery Go is for the sub $100 smartphone market. Moving on. Oh, you take a look at this. The soundbar that we've been waiting on from JBL finally showed up. It's the Android TV soundbar. Now, JBL, for those of you who don't know, made a big splash last year at Google I/O 2018 with its $400 Link Bar that works as an Android TV box, Google Assistant speaker, and Chromecast device all in one nice package. Now, it turned out to be harder to stuff all that in than expected. However, as the device was significantly delayed following pre-orders that started nearly a year ago, and if you put in a pre-order and you're thinking about canceling, well, just hold off on that. Now, the wait is over, as JBL has announced that the Link Bar is finally available. Now, if you think about everything it does, the Link Bar is pretty good value here, despite the relatively high price tag. A Chromecast Ultra costs $70, and you're looking about the same for an Android TV box that transforms your dumb TV into a smart TV. On top of that, you'll get Google Assistant, multiple HDMI inputs, and JBL's well-regarded sound quality. That'll let you find programs using Hey Google, control your smart home, listen to Spotify, and do other chores remotely. Now, as mentioned, the Link Bar is now available for $400 on JBL's website and at retail outlets. Now, if you need more of that bass, because more cowbell, why not? You can supplement it with the optional $300 subwoofer. The thing is, the subwoofer does not operate as a microwave, so do not try to cook anything in the microwave. I'm just saying, microwave is supposed to go in the kitchen, not by your TV. Got it? Okay, good. All right, and our last article we got for you lined up today is all the gear you need to build a game streaming empire. Now, I don't know about you, but I've figured out some of this stuff for myself in terms of what I need, what I don't need, what works and doesn't work, and it really varies depending on what you plan on streaming, if you're going to be PC, if you're going to have like a console plugged in and all that. But this article here, written by Engadget, should help some of you at least figure out if you're going to be streaming live on Twitch or Mixer or YouTube Live or Facebook Live, Facebook Gaming. Just to make a couple of really simpler choices in terms of what do I need, what's the bare minimum I need to get up and get going, what would I be looking at cost-wise here. And obviously, just keep in mind this is a startup. As time goes on, you're always going to be improving the equipment and stuff that you use. You'll be getting better headphones, you'll be getting better computers, you'll be getting better microphones, one would hope. You'll be getting better backgrounds, better lightings, things like that. Like things that normal streamers deal with over the years as they increase in popularity or as time goes along and are able to invest more into their setup on the back end. More and more people show up and say, hey, that's a really great background, or hey, that microphone sounds awesome, or I really like how fast your computer is and how you don't crash every single time you try to load up a game, because you can't stream on Windows 95. I mean, you could, but just not recommended. So, without further ado, you might have been watching Tfue, Animation, Ninja, Pokimane, studying their habits and on-air setups, cameras on faces and keyboards, friendly borders around ad boxes, quality lighting, quirky banter, and plenty of reminders to donate, donate, and donate. You've played Fortnite and League of Legends every day for the past month. Mentally, you're ready to go live on your own streaming channel. Now, it's time to get your gear in order. Now, streaming is not only about playing games in front of a live audience, but also showcasing your personality, connecting with the chat, and making viewers feel like they're in the room with you, hanging out with a friend. Now, the wrong equipment can get in the way of this immersion, but the right setup can keep people watching for hours. And I'm just going to say this outright, me personally, it is so easy to watch Ninja. I can just like literally pop on his stream on the TV and I could just sit there and let it run and come back. It's so easy going, and it's like, hey, he's hanging out over in another room playing a video game and we're chatting it up or talking whatever, and he's screaming and yelling, what's he doing now? Things of that nature. It's just easy. I've never really watched a streamer where I can just like put him on, walk away, come back, walk away again, come back, and I could just let him go the entire day without having to babysit him. But if there are obviously times that I want to pay attention, I'll pay attention. But then there are other streamers where I want to see their entire show from start to finish, or I'm only going to tune in for a certain part, or I'm only going to tune in for a certain amount of time. It really depends on that, and a lot of that comes down to personality, length of time you've been doing it. But when it comes to streaming hardware, there are two main areas to consider here. Number one, how you look, and number two, how you sound. Now, let's start with the visual. Lighting. People want to see your face while you're playing video games. It's as simple as that. However, you don't want to look blown out, shiny, or covered in shadows, and proper lighting is the solution. And if you happen to not have a webcam or camera at all, or proper lighting, there are a handful of streamers who have gotten along just fine in terms of actually moving up to partnership on Mixer and Twitch and YouTube and Facebook by having no webcam at all. So consider it in mind. It really, a lot of it comes down to your style and how you happen to hold your stream. Ring lights work well for showing off new gadgets or your favorite beauty vlogger's non-existent pores, but for streaming or anyone with glasses, they can be a bit harsh. Ideally, a streamer wants clean, even lighting, and for that you'll need soft boxes with LED bulbs. Soft boxes provide diffuse lights, while LEDs don't run as hot as other bulbs, keeping you cool while you entertain the remote emote audience. And for those of you wondering, I actually have a couple of soft boxes set up. Now, if you have the floor space, the newer lighting kit has all the necessary pieces for $100, including 2 soft boxes with dimmable LEDs, 2 stands, power adapters, and a carrying case. General wisdom is to place the soft boxes at 45-degree angles on either side of your streaming space, eliminating shadows and evenly lighting your green screen if you happen to use that. Of course, every lighting situation is different, so feel free to play with angles and warmth to find that perfect kill streak glow. Obviously, there is going to be a one focus light that'll be in front. There'll be a fill light that'll be off to the side, and then if you happen to want to have any lighting behind you, if you're not going to be using a green screen, to keep that in mind. You don't want the backlighting to be too harsh, but you can vary it up in terms of like how you want to do that. Maybe your dorm room doesn't have enough square footage for a hot plate and standing softboxes. Well, in that case, a dimmable LED panel should work just fine. There is one affordable for $32 and effective, especially in a controlled environment. It has diffuse, dimmable light, and the whole thing measures just 20 by 13 by 3 centimeters. You'll have to supply the AC power adapter or lithium battery though. Now, next up is your camera. Streaming has joined the rest of the technology industry in the 4K era, and that means a professional looking stream requires something more than your built-in webcam. Now, if you're serious about the streaming and vlogging business, look no further than a Sony a7 III, the best full-frame mirrorless camera that $2,000 can buy. The a7 III shoots in 4K, and it's what all the top YouTube creators are using today, and I can almost guarantee you Ninja is using that as well. But if you want to stream in 4K for less cash, the Sony Alpha A6500 is just over, well, $1,000. The major benefit in buying a 4K camera for streaming comes in scalability. These are ideal for shooting YouTube videos and other edited content once your Twitch channel takes off. However, it's perfectly valid to start your streaming career with a 1080p webcam like Logitech's C920S that you can pick up for $65. Many streamers get their start with this little beauty and then upgrade to 4K once the subscribers start flowing. And ironically, to that point, I actually have a Logitech 1080p. It works out great. It really does. Another ability of the C920 is its built-in ability to go live, something that Sony's 4K offerings can't do on their own. Luckily, there's a dongle for that as well. Now, once you have the camera, make it a streaming machine with the Elgato Cam Link 4K. It's a $118 dongle that connects compatible cameras to your PC and allows you to go live. Most of Sony's wares are on a compatibility list, along with models from GoPro, Panasonic, and other major manufacturers. But if you're like me, I just plug it directly into my computer. My computer is actually powerful enough where I can play a game, I can have it stream, and I can have the streaming program running all perfectly fine. But visual appeal is only half the battle. The second half is all about how you sound, and for that, you'll need a quality mic. Now, for the best audio quality, you'll need a standalone microphone that captures your voice while minimizing background noise. Microphones generally come in 2 flavors, dynamic and condenser. Dynamic mics are rugged and can handle extremely loud sounds with ease, while condenser mics are more sensitive and are able to capture higher quality sounds. For streaming, when you want to eliminate all sounds except your voice, dynamic mics are a safe bet. Now, the Shure SM7B that you can get for $400 is a top dynamic mic pick for many podcasters and streamers, providing those perfect mouth pops even in the midst of a celebratory scream. Rode also makes a solid dynamic mic with the $220 Procaster. I know many streamers and podcasters who use the Shure SM7B and the Rode Procaster. All of it works great, price-wise. That said, condenser mics aren't out of the running. It is possible to play with the settings in your streaming software, particularly the noise gate, and get the most out of a mic like the Blue Yeti, a long-standing classic of streaming and podcasting lore that you can pick up for right around $90. And for me, quite honestly, the Blue Yeti or any of the Yeti mics are really great ones to start off with. Just keep in mind, if it's going to be on the same table that your keyboard and mouse are, it will be picking up keyboard and mouse sounds, and it will happen to pick up you banging the table, like punching it or whacking it or jumping up and down. It's very prone to vibrations and movement. So it's one thing I find a lot of streamers forget is they go, well, yeah, I have my Yeti, I have it plugged in, it has the stand, and it sits right there. Well, if you punch the table that it's sitting on, it's gonna go boom. Don't do that, because everybody else is gonna hear it. And now, unless that's part of your personality and you like people hearing that boom, to stick around for that. But many people, and you'll probably figure this out yourself, will not stick around if they start hearing microphone thumping. Actually, I figured it out myself once I had been podcasting for long enough, and this was back, goodness, like 5-6 years ago, and I kept hitting the table and I kept going, my audio keeps getting ruined. Maybe I should either A, stop punching the table, or B, here's a great idea what you can use. Get a mic stand. Get a freestanding mic stand that you can either adjust that like drops down and you can have it go that way, or one that you can set off to the side like I have currently, and you can just swing the microphone over, adjust up, down, however you want. Those you can pick up pretty easily, like $20-$30. Get a mic stand, that quality mic stand that works with it. Obviously now then that means that you're gonna have to make sure that the connecting part of it, whether that be you can screw the Yeti into the mic stand, or you have to get an attachment to like hook it in. Invest in that, but that'll definitely save you time editing and frustrations of having to deal with, well, I put the microphone on the table and it worked just fine, because trust me, I've done this for many years. It makes it so much easier when you have it on a mic stand, whether it's freestanding or it's hanging down. It works a lot easier as well. So with that, that wraps up all the articles. Yep, they do have links to some of that stuff, but obviously, if you have any questions further about that regarding to, well, what else do I need to use to get started streaming or recording videos or recording content, recording audio? What do I need to do there? Feel free to let me know down in the comment section. I can always direct you to what might be the latest and most helpful based on what I can tell. I talk to a lot of people in the industry, not only live streaming, but podcasting as well. So obviously, audio and video are two very crucial elements that you need to look at moving forward. And even if you're starting off, there's some really great entry-level things to get you started. And then as you start going up through the ranks, you can start investing in more on the back end to improve what's going on the front end. With that, that wraps up this episode of the Latest in Tech News. Thanks for tuning in, guys. New episodes every weekday. Latest in Tech News can be found on every major platform, including Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Stitcher, Overcast, and more. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and by leaving a comment. And if you're listening to the podcast, hey, why don't you go and leave us a review? Also, double check that you're subscribed so that you don't miss the next episode. I'm your host, Taylor American. Remember, for the latest in tech, gadget, and gaming news, visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much keep being awesome, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.